Sweden rolls once again. Welcome, dear listeners, for yet another one-shot. This time we are playing KULT, Divinity Lost by Helmgast, and we have a guest GM by the name of Mattiaz Fredriksson. A huge welcome to you.
Thank you very much. It's a real honor to be invited on the show.
Oh, the honor is all ours, I assure you. And with me, I also have Anneli and Dominic. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
So, I'm so psyched to finally get to play this game, so I feel we should just hand the mic over to you, Mattiaz, and you should get us going.
Indeed. So, what we will be playing today is a scenario that's called Seven Sisters. It has not been publicly released in English yet, but it was released in Swedish in the game magazine Fenix. It's written by Gunilla Jonsson and Petersén, who wrote the original game. It is a tie-in to the book that they have written, the KULT novel called Death is Only the Beginning. And there's also, I suppose, certain links with the grand campaign for KULT called The Black Madonna, which also takes place in Berlin, because Berlin is where we will be, and we will be there in the year of 1945. So, if you're ready to go back in time, then here we go. It's Monday, the 26th of February, 1945. The Second World War has ravaged Europe for the last 6 years. The continent has been bathed in a tidal wave of blood, and humanity has proven just how dark, twisted, and ruthless we truly are. Millions upon millions dead, and as always, the civilian population has been the ones to suffer the most. But the end is approaching. The Allied leaders have met at Yalta and carved up the continent between them. Yes, an end. An end for now, at least. The Third Reich is nearing its final state of collapse. The Red Army has pushed into Poland and East Prussia as part of the Vistula Order offensive, liberating Auschwitz and many other concentration camps, revealing the many crimes of the Nazi regime while perpetrating horrific war crimes of their own along the way. The hated enemy is now on the doorstep of the fatherland, and the final offensive will soon begin, destroying all who attempt to stand in their way, exacting a bloody retribution on the German people. For the British, this is a step closer to victory. Montgomery and Patton have crossed the Rhine and into the Saarland, but they're meeting fierce resistance and progress is slowed considerably. At this rate, the Red Army will reach Berlin before they do. Farley, Drummond. The twin engines of the Avro and Urin rattle a bit. Your role in this great play is for now much smaller, much simpler than the grand politics and strategy. Sir Stuart Menzies, the head of MI6, has tasked you with finding Nicholas Lawton, a British agent deep undercover in Berlin. He's gone under the name Lucas Smits there, a Belgian citizen and successful black market entrepreneur. With the invasion from the west having been slowed down considerably and the Red Army approaching at a ferocious pace, London decided to recall Lawton back to England. And that is when contact was lost with him. Almost 2 whole months have passed without a trace of him, until Leonore Eisenberg, an MI6 asset in Berlin, reported that Lawton had suddenly contacted her. Apparently he had seemed stressed and seemed to be under a great deal of pressure. This is a great and grave threat to MI6 and to Britain. Lawton has extensive knowledge of the network of Allied, particularly British, agents in Germany, and knows many secrets of the British intelligence service. The communists may be allies today, but the British High Command seems certain that they won't be in the New World Order. If Lawton has been compromised somehow, being blackmailed, for example, or is about to defect, this would deal a serious blow to British interests in post-war Germany. So something has to be done. Lawton needs to be located and ideally brought back for questioning. Or liquidated if that should prove necessary. He must, regardless, not fall into enemy hands alive. That much is for certain. You have a list of names of MI6 contacts in Berlin. Leonard Eisenberg's is the first on this list. The last person to have spoken to Lawton. The interior of your airplane is dark. Only a dim red light is on. Hickney and Hawthorne, the flight lieutenant and flight officer, are calmly guiding you towards your target. You can hear distant explosions, like rolling thunder, coming from a bombing raid somewhere far away. Anti-aircraft artillery lighting up the sky in the north. Tracer fire and explosions briefly bring light into the dark nights. The US 8th Air Force bombed Berlin earlier in the day. 1,000 B-17 bombers protected by an escort of 500 B-51 Mustangs dropped tons upon tons of death onto the citizens of Berlin. When the eastern part of the city was bombed earlier in the month, the fires raged for 4 days. How long will they rage this time? How long will they rage this time? The engine rattles again. Drummond, can you describe yourself and what you're doing now?
I'm mostly sitting and thinking about what should be the next step, what to be the plan to find Lawton.
You've been with the MI6 for some time now, yes?
Yes, since 33.
Yes, indeed. But this is one of the first times you're truly out in the field.
Yes.
You've been spending a lot of time behind a desk.
Exactly. Wasn't that much fun. But it's nice to be out and to be a little bit more on the field.
When you find Lawton, because you're certain you will find him, you have to find him after all. What do you wish to do with him?
Well, he knows things that he shouldn't know, and especially shouldn't tell anyone else. So, well, I know what I would like to do, but I can't risk what we are doing, so the best thing for England is what I will do.
Of course. It always is what you will do. But you have secrets, don't you? I would like you to roll 2 d10s now and give me the results.
11.
It means that I will have 1 hold because of your rival, your competitor. Farley, you wake up, or maybe you're still dreaming, you're not sure. Are you still in the nightmares, or what did you see?
In my nightmare, I was in Spain. Civil War, the Condor Legion, the Germans bombing, and I still hardly know whether I'm in the dream or out of it, because I wake up, I can hear those noises that I've been hearing for so many years in Spain and in Greece and North Africa, and now here in the air, the rumble of guns and bombing.
And it's not just being in war that haunts you, right? It is what war has made you do.
Those bombs, just now and again, they've been cover for being able to let off a gun. Like the time that Farley was left looking after some prisoners of war, happened to be SS and fascists. He hates fascists, no matter what country they come from. And every time those bombs went off, he pulled the trigger until all of his captives were dead. And it comes back to him in his dreams. He remembers squeezing the trigger.
Yes, Because SS as they may have been, prisoners of war are prisoners of war, and the Geneva Convention is fairly clear on what one is supposed to do in that situation. But this is war, after all. But yes, it's not something that perhaps comes as naturally to you as you would have thought. I would like you to roll 2d10s to see how you handle the nightmares that you're waking up from right now.
12.
12. Then the nightmares have indeed been plaguing you during the sleeps that you just had. And something feels different. You feel as though you are more aware of your surroundings, as if you are hearing things clearer, seeing things just a little bit sharper than you normally do. This is the first time that this has happened after waking up from the nightmares, but this is what you're now faced with. Can you describe yourself? How do you look like?
I'm not particularly tall. Farley is well built. He's strong. He's compact. He's got black hair, a little bit of an aquiline nose. His eyes are also dark. They're brown. When he speaks, it's clear he's been brought up in the north of England, Manchester, in fact. But there's something also clearly in his looks that suggests that his family don't only come from there, which indeed they don't, because he's half Italian. He's sitting there. He's got civilian clothes on, and he's got a blue woolen short coat done up over the top of them.
And what would you like to see happen to Lawton?
Farley, he's been fighting fascists for years. He's been fighting fascists since he was in the International Brigades in Spain in 1936. And just as he was then, he is now a committed communist. And he went to join the International Brigades with the help of the Soviets, of the Comintern, who had control over most of the international brigades there. And ever since then, his commitment to the communist cause has never wavered. And really, although here he is in a plane heading for Berlin as an agent and a soldier of the British, what he would really like to see is a Europe governed by the Soviet Union and part of the Soviet Union.
Indeed. So Lawton falling into Soviet hands would basically be a good thing. I mean, they are the good guys, right?
That would suit him very well.
Can we get a brief description also just of Cecil?
Yes, Cecily.
Cecily of Cecily Drummond as well, just to describe how you look like.
Yes, so she is of medium height and she has light brown hair to the shoulders, blue eyes, and medium built, bit to the slender side. Nothing special. She is not a woman you turn around after if you see her in town. She blends in. And she has a certain poise when she moves. She's from a nice family. Father was a diplomat. Did study in Berlin though, but she has a certain poise about her. And
you see now Berlin ahead and below you from the airplane. In your backpack, you have some basic German-made equipment, as well as 20 cartons of cigarettes, worth its weight in gold when used as bribes down there. On top of that, you have a briefcase with 1 million Reichsmark, a fortune back in the day, and in spite of the hyperinflation, still enough to be a hefty bribe in the city. The light turns green in the airplane, and Hickney gives the go signal over the radio. Jupiter, Jupiter, time to go. And you can hear the back of the plane beginning to open. It's time to jump. What do you do?
Farley stands up, makes sure he's clipped into the line, heads to the back of the plane.
And Drummond is following his example. She sees to it that she has the parachute on correctly, checks it once, checks it twice, follows him to the back of the plane, and makes herself ready to jump.
And the final signal comes, and you jump. And you fall through the cold February air and pitch black darkness. The Avro Anson disappears in the night sky above you. You're all alone. Everything around you belongs to the enemy. It's time to pull your parachute. And below you is your target. Farmland. It's a field outside Teltow, the town of Teltow, 20 kilometers south of Berlin. And you release your parachutes and you begin making your descent. Bauer. You see two figures gathering their parachutes on the field, having landed. Your car, a Steyr 30, parked by the side of the road. What do you look like?
Felix Bauer is a rather short and very thinly built man, very far from the Nazi ideal of a fighting man. He's been spending his life behind a printer, printing all kinds of stuff, magazines, newspapers, different propaganda sheets that were ordered by the government to print and hand out. Blonde hair and blue eyes though, but apart from that, quite a nondescript person. Could blend in almost any town in Germany. He wears this long dark coat of the Volkssturm and a hat, and he's smoking a cigarette waiting for the parachute jumpers to land.
You've been an asset of MI6 since the 30s. Why is it that you've chosen to betray your country?
Well, also being a communist since early years, Felix, of course, loathes the Nazis who are in power, and ever since they came to power, he's been trying to fight them in every way possible. But realizing that he's not a fighting man, he's been trying to do this covertly instead. So he's been, and when he got the chance, when he was approached by the MI6, he agreed to work with them as an asset.
Indeed. But doing this has come at a cost, hasn't it? You've had to do things.
Yes, unfortunately. I had a partner who found my hidden radio equipment in our printer. And I found him and his son there. And not being sure on his allegiance, I couldn't dare take a chance. So I killed them, both, and buried them in the basement of our printer office.
Indeed. But this isn't something that has come lightly to you. It has affected you. I would like you to roll 2 d10s.
13.
You see them sometimes. They're looking at you with those eyes. Those eyes are filled with judgment. And they make you feel so small, so useless, so not like what you would have thought of yourself, so not like the freedom fighter that's fighting against evil. No, just as someone who is as compromised as anyone else in this war. And they don't leave you alone. You're now working for the Volkssturm, the culmination of Hitler's and Goebbels' talk of total war. Conscription of the last civilian men and women left in Germany, meant to repel the battle-hardened Red Army regulars. It's insanity and a pointless delusion, but then again, sanity left the German High Command long ago. You have brought with you clothes that will make the two agents who have just landed appear like your Volkssturm colleagues, complete with the armbands that are really the only real uniform part of this uniform. Otherwise it's civilian clothes, basically. You also have weapons, a Dreise model 1907 pistol, as well as an MP3008, the Volksmaschinenpistole, the People's Machine Pistol. And this is a German copy of the Sten Mk2 submachine gun that has been scrounged together to replace the mainstay MP40. Now that resources have become really, really scarce. There's no imports coming in, and well, Germany is truly isolated, and all important factories are being bombed. So, you see them having landed now. What do you do?
Having seen them landed, I approached them to go greet them and show them to the car. Willkommen, welcome friends. You are Drummond and Farley, yeah?
Yes, that is correct.
That's right.
Welcome, my name is Bauer. This way, please.
Do you have the clothes?
Of course, here. I hand you the clothes.
Thank you.
The car is over here.
You can hear bombs going off in the city. AAA fire exploding in the night sky. It's droning. It's quite loud.
Do I have the same information that they have about Lawton?
Yes, you have been given the same information by MI6. Probably not quite as. There's a little bit of a need-to-know basis, I think, but you know that he is a British agent, and the contact has been lost, and that is basically it.
Yeah.
And as you are changing here and getting ready, do you say anything else to each other?
So where do you want to go first? Do you want to go to this Eisenberg, or do you want to get some rest first, or?
There's no time like the present, so let's go to Eisenberg first.
That suits me.
Alright. Do I know where she lives or resides?
Yes, you do know where she resides. She is in the fancy villa area of Zehlendorf, in a nice detached house that's overlooking the Schlachtensee lake. It's a bit of a drive, but not that far, really. Just as you are contemplating this, a flight of Focke-Wulf 190s zoom by overhead, German fighters, night fighters. Must be some of the last planes that the Luftwaffe has left, probably heading for those bombers. It's around 3 o'clock in the morning now. And as that sound sort of dies off, as the planes have passed above you, everything suddenly becomes lit up. Headlights from a car. You turn around and you see a Volkswagen Kübelwagen that's stopped on the road, just right over there. And 4 men have begun exiting the vehicle. What do you do?
Let me deal with this. I will go approach them. And Bauer goes and approach them. He has a commanding position within the Volkssturm, after all, so he has somewhat, although he's not an officer of the Wehrmacht, he still has some kind of authority.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And Drummond and Farley, what are you doing?
Staying behind.
Oh, I'm handing them. No, is it very obvious? Could I try and hand them the guns before I go to approach them?
You have already handed them the weapons and the clothes, so they have all that already.
Yeah.
And can I just check, do we both have both weapons? So do we both have a handgun and a submachine gun?
Indeed, you both have those.
Okay. So Farley is just making sure that his MP 3008 is tucked underneath his coat, out of sight just now.
It is ready to go whenever you need it. Drummond, what about you?
Goes into the car, actually, to try to be invisible.
Indeed. And that is what you do. The men, you see now that they're wearing uniforms. 2 sig runes on their uniforms. Skull mark on their caps. These are men from the SS Death's Head unit. They're armed with MP40s. And they have come up now to you, Bauer, and Farley, you are a few steps behind or right with him?
A few steps behind.
Halt! What's going on here exactly? The lead man says to you, Bauer, since you seem to be the leader.
I do the not salute and I say, Guten Abend, Guten Nacht. We are here to. I am Felix Bauer of the Volkssturm. I am a Kompanieführer, and we are out here to seek. We are trying to see the lights in the sky.
Oh, you're here to see the lights, you say. I would like you now here to you'll build a little bit on this lie, I suppose, and to roll an influence person here to see if you
ever.
To see if you will be able to convince them.
Yeah.
You have the right uniform, to be certain, but the reason for being here is perhaps not the strongest ever.
Yeah.
So, influence person.
12.
12. All right. As you say this, you reflect on the SS Death's Head unit. What are they doing here? It's a little bit strange to see them around. They're usually the ones who are running the concentration camps, but there might actually be one close by now that you think about it. He looks at you skeptically, but then looks at your Volkssturm armband and weapons and just sort of shrugs. We spotted parachutes in the night sky from the Rulsdorf camp. We believe it might be hostile saboteurs. You didn't see anything else except for the lights.
No, we were looking north.
Right. They start to confer amongst each other.
Well, when did you see these parachutes?
Oh, it was just 15 minutes ago. We're at the Rulsdorf camp, and it's not far from here. We headed immediately over here. They start to confer amongst each other, and you see that the 2 of the men have begun lighting up cigarettes. You can sort of overhear skepticism and the word questioning. We should bring them in for questioning. What do you do?
Do you wish to help us? Do you wish us to help you search?
No disrespect to the Volkssturm, but I think the SS is more than capable of handling this. But we might actually need to ask you a few more questions, unless and this unless sort of stops in the air, as if there may be a way for you to get out of this situation that you find yourself in. They seem to be shaking you down for something.
Yeah, they want to bribe.
Indeed, they want to bribe, like most people do in Germany at this point.
Farley steps forward and he says, I am Bruno Scacchi. I have been fighting in in Italy, and now here I fight for the fascist cause in Germany. I brought some cigarettes with me. Would you like a pack or two?
The eyes of the men light up at this mention of cigarettes. That's hard cash, basically. That's valuable. Cigarettes? You brought cigarettes from Italy? Well, this might just make this trip worthwhile. How many do you have, huh?
Oh, I think I said a couple. Maybe I have four packets.
And the two men who are already lit up begin approaching. Yes, show us where they are.
I get them. You wait here. I go and find them. They're in the car somewhere. And Farley goes back over to the car and opens the door. Not very wide, so his body sort of blocks the view a bit, and opens up their provisions and takes 4 of the cigarette packets out and returns.
So these are like the cartons. You have like 20 cartons. These are long cigarettlimpor. So these are like pretty big ones. Yeah, you're bringing them 4 of those, or 4 small packs.
I bring them 4 small packs.
Then they sort of scoff a little bit. Is that it? Is that all you brought from Italy? I mean, you let us down there, really. You guys really let us down. Come on, you must have more.
I see. Maybe I missed a few. You wait here. I go back, and he goes back and gets another 3 small packets for each of them. So comes back with another 12. I can't count. Here. There are more. There are more. But that is really all we have. But all we have. It is yours. It is yours. It is an honor to meet officers of the SS. The SS. The front line in the fascist fight.
And they look pleased as you bring them these cigarettes. And they turn back to you, Bauer. Well, look, we respect the Volkssturm, but it's best if you stay out of this area. We might mistake you for the enemy. We might want to think twice before going to watch the lights next time.
Ja, natürlich. We'll go back to the village.
Yes, very good. And they get back into their car, and they have all now lit up cigarettes, and they seem extremely pleased. And they must be heading back to the camp. The roads are muddy. You have, of course, know this, Bauer, but you noticed this as well, Drummond and Farley. It's cold, but January was much worse, and it's actually been unseasonably warm at times during this month. So the roads have become a bit muddy. The SS have now left you, and you're standing here again by this field and your car. What do you do?
Whew. Close one.
It was bloody hard to go and get those cigarettes and not just take out this submachine gun and try and take them all out. Bloody fascists.
Farley,
Watching
I think
4
you wasted
bloody
some...
fascists bugger off.
You
unharmed.
wasted the cigarettes on them, I think. We should have shot them why not?
Would you be doing that with all your field experience and combat
No, I
skills?
would have left that to you. And then we
By
could
myself?
use the cigarettes. Yes, why not? You did brag about how good you were as a shot, didn't you?
Well, that's true. I am a good shot as well. But there were 4 of them.
Yeah.
And
There's
did you
always the
see
next
what they
time.
had? MP40s.
Yeah.
We
Let's
have more
just go.
important things on our mind, yeah? Let us go to the car, yeah.
Let's go.
Well, Bauer, you know that the closest route to get to Leonor Eisenberg's home, if that is where you intend to go, would be north through the town of Teltov, which is an industrial city where forced laborers from, you're supposed to end this camp, they're making detonators at something called a Dralovid Werk. So they're helping to make parts for the explosives that the German war machine uses. Is that going to be the road that you take, or will you try to take a detour to try to bypass the town somehow?
Well, we did tell the SS that we were going through the town, so maybe it should be best to just go through the town.
Indeed. And it's become a little bit later in the morning now as you're driving. You were held up by the SS for a bit there. And your car is headed towards Teltov and drives past a column of hundreds of starved-looking Russian women that are being marched towards the factory. You see this just as the morning sun rises. Do you do anything, or do you just drive past them? They're guarded by the SS, of course.
We'll drive past. Don't you think?
Yeah,
I say
maybe
we stick to our goal. Poor souls, look at them. But there's nothing we can do.
Bigger picture, my friends, yeah?
Yes. We have to focus on the goal here.
And you reach, finally, Teltov. And there are checkpoints to get into the city here. You're fairly used to working these checkpoints, Bauer. You, of course, fix things across the city. Will you treat this in any kind of special way now that you have these two guests with you, or
I suppose I've fixed papers for them, or they brought papers for themselves.
They have papers, yes. What do your papers say, Drummond and Farley?
My papers say that my name is Bruno Scacchi, and I'm from the Italian Fascist Republic, and now living in Berlin and a member of the Volkssturm.
That's right. And what about Cecily?
Yes, hers says Antonia Hoffmann, a former business partner to Felix Bauer, and also a member of the Volkssturm.
Yes, and on top of that, you are a Nazi Party member since 1935. Look at that, you were in it from the beginning. Yes, so they have their papers, and the tired-looking and very young soldiers eye you as you reach the checkpoint. But the papers are legit, and you are let through with a nod. And the road continues through the outskirts of Berlin, where you see trenches and fortifications are being built to prepare for the inevitable invasion of the city. And it isn't long until you reach your target, the fancy villas west of Zehlendorf. This area actually seems completely unaffected by the war. There's beautiful trees lining the avenues and grand houses belonging to the wealthy merchant families. The address you're heading for is Donhauserstrasse 6, which is overlooking the Schlachtensee Lake. And you see the house right up there. Leonore Eisenberg's house. It's a green, wooden, detached house. Looks to be from the late 1800s. Do you do any kind of special approach here to go in? What do you do?
Well, Drummond rings the doorbell.
Wait, ein Moment, bitte.
Okay.
We should perhaps stop the car a few blocks away and just have a look to see that she's not watched, yeah?
Yeah. That's a very good idea.
There are spies everywhere.
And you do that, and you look around, and neither of you actually notice anything particular going on in this area. It is fairly quiet. There is one of the houses close to Eisenberg's is there's a man out chopping wood. The other house, which is next to it, it seems to be a little bit run down. You see a lot of people milling around there that you can't. They all look different. They don't look to be one family, and you immediately get the feeling that they must be refugees, probably refugees from the eastern part of Germany. But there's no real activity going on near at Eisenberg's house. There's a tall fence around it, and you can see that beyond the black iron bars, you see what must once have been a large and luxurious garden that now seems to have been converted to a potato field, and it's covered in frost-covered straw. And you see much the same in the other houses as well. It seems like everyone is growing their own food. I suppose there's not much choice.
So no activity and some watchers, but nothing suspicious.
No, they look like they live here. They look very much like civilians.
Yes, now we go to the front door.
And you start moving towards the front door. Farley, the gates to Eisenberg's house, they're covered in elaborate signs and symbols. It looks like runes or something.
And do I know what they are at all?
No, you've never seen anything like that. It looks, I mean, it looks old. It looks like something you would see in a museum, perhaps.
I stare at them and try and read them, but I can't make anything of them at all. So I point them out to Drummond and Bauer.
And Farley is pointing towards the gates. But you don't see anything. It's just black iron.
What are you talking about? What runes?
These
nothing there.
signs. Look at them. It's covered in them.
It's all in your head. Farley, there's really nothing there.
You what? You what? Use your eyes. Look.
Sorry, there's nothing there. You should get some more sleep when you can.
I see absolutely nothing. Now let us go. Come on.
What do you do about this, Farley? They're saying that what you're seeing is not there at all.
Are you two trying to keep something from me? What's going on? You must be able to see what I'm looking at.
I'm sorry, we see nothing. You are creating a scene. We must go, okay?
Let's hurry up.
Farley stares at the signs one more time, shakes his head, and follows them.
And there is a doorbell by the gate. Will you ring it?
Yes.
How long do you intend to wait? Because there's no response.
Couple of minutes.
Then you have stood there for a couple of minutes and nothing. It's completely silent. No activity whatsoever.
And we're still standing by the gate,
Yes.
rather than the door. I open the gate and go up to the front door.
And you notice that the gate is actually not locked. It seems to have been closed rather hastily. And you move up to the door, and you knock. And again, here, very much the same lack of any kind of response.
I try the door handle to see whether it's locked.
It is not.
I open the door and step inside.
And Drummond and Bauer, you see Farley starting to make his way into the building. Are you following right after him, or what do you do?
It would be the least conspicuous, yeah? We should follow.
Yes. Guns drawn.
Ah. And you have your guns out. Doesn't seem
Yes.
like anyone has has noticed it. And anyways, walking with weapons in the city at this point is, well, it might arise some suspicion in a rather calm area like this, but you are discreet, and everyone else seems to be busy with the morning's tasks anyways. And you come into this modern, I mean, the building itself is old, but the inside is very modern. It's got modern furnishings in the Bauhaus style. There's Dadaist photo montage art from the 1920s on the walls. It seems like Leonor here must have been very much a part of the Weimar cultural movement, but you would assume that you must probably have lamented what happened after the fascists took over and all that was sort of deemed degenerate. You also see, more importantly, muddy footprints in the kitchen and a flipped-over chair. You get the distinct feeling that there's been some kind of violent altercation in here.
Can we see from how many feet the footprints are from?
There seems to be at least 4 different set of footprints.
4 muddy sets of footprints.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we see how recent they are?
Well, who of you do you think would be the most skilled at making a judgment like that?
I think maybe Drummond. I hope.
Yes. Indeed, you are a trained MI6 agent,
Yes,
so you know what to look out for.
Mhm.
So yeah, you look at these footsteps, these tracks on the floor here, and yeah, it looks to have happened not that long ago. Maybe just a few 3-4 hours ago, like earlier in the night, probably.
These footsteps are very fresh. It's just a matter of hours. They have been here. They might still be in the house. We should look and see if the house is empty or not.
Farley looks around to see how far into the house the muddy footprints extend. What does he see?
Well, the main thing that Farley sees is the same kind of symbols and runes as on the gate. They're everywhere, intricate patterns and symbols, all around you in this house.
Right, you two, look around you now. Look at the walls, look at everywhere, and tell me you can't see these signs, these things which have been written everywhere.
Farley, stop this nonsense immediately. We don't have time for this.
I just stare at them wide-eyed in disbelief, but find nothing else to say.
Why did you send a madman for this kind of mission?
Beats me. Well, if you're not gonna help, then just sit here and wait, and you and I will go find whomever's here, if anyone is here, Bauer.
And Farley, you did ask a very specific question regarding the footsteps and how far the tracks led. The tracks seem to have gone to the kitchen and then left.
By the kitchen door or front door?
Through the front door.
We should ask the neighbors if they saw anything.
Yes, but how talkative do you think that they would be?
It's all a matter of what they can get for it.
We do have some trade. Would you like to go ask them? And I will stay here with the sign man.
These are peasants, refugees. I think a few packets of cigarettes will do the trick.
Yes.
So, Farley, what do you do with that? Do you say anything, or do you just sit down, or what do you do?
I have a look around the rest of the house, partly to see if there's any sign of anything else there, but also really to see whether these signs are spread further. I can see that there's no point keeping on pointing them out to my myopic companions, but I'm going to take a look around to see if I can see any more, and I'm certainly not going to be told to sit down and stay in the kitchen.
And you search the house, and then these signs are indeed everywhere, and it's fascinating to you. They sort of glow a little bit to you, a kind of golden or copperish kind of light coming from them. It's unlike anything you have ever seen before. Drummond, what are you doing then? Are you also searching the building, or were you going to go with Bauer?
She's searching the building, seeing if there's trace of anything that the people who went into the house left. Maybe they left something behind. Is there anything that they left behind?
No, there is nothing.
No trace
actually.
of who it was?
No, not in the building. Whoever did it seems to have known fairly well what they were doing. Another thing that strikes you as you're looking around the building is that you are not able to find Eisenberg's radio equipment and, her secret MI6 room,
That's
or
interesting.
where she has that. Which means that, well, she must have been quite good at what she was doing.
Yes. So, can it be hidden somewhere in the house? In like a little extra, like a hidden room?
It must be, but you figure that given how difficult it is to find, you would probably have to spend the better part of the day looking around in here, even with
Knocking
your
at
training
walls.
and with your skills, in order to find it. It is mostly just this knowledge that it doesn't seem that whoever came to get her, they do not seem to have found that equipment at the very least, which is a very good thing.
Yes.
Bauer, then. So, you have made it outside of the building, of the house, and, well, there's these two primary houses that are close to you now, the one with the refugees, and then there's the very nice villa where this man is chopping wood outside of. He looks very much like a worker, like a servant almost, you would say, if that was a thing that people still had. There's you see Nazi symbols on the house, and a very nice Mercedes parked in the garage.
Servants are up early in the morning, and since this was a couple of hours ago, he might have been the only one still awake, or having been awoken at such an early hour, so I'll start with him.
That is a very good reasoning there. You move towards this house, and the man who's chopping wood, he notices you, and he sort of smiles, comes up to you. He's bald, tall, and quite thin. Oh, good morning.
Guten Morgen, indeed. May I offer you a cigarette?
Oh, yeah, certainly. I could really use a break, but are you sure those are expensive?
Of course. No problem for the Volkssturm, you know. May I ask you a question? Your neighbor here, Eisenberg. If you're looking for her, have you seen anyone coming here to talk to her?
Well, it's strange, really, and it's interesting that you asked that question. There were people over there during the night. They came in the dark. I thought it was strange that they wouldn't be in the shelters during the bombing that was happening in the city. I saw a woman who I think was Leonore. It was so dark I couldn't make it out for sure. And then a man I didn't recognize. The two of them were being taken away by police dressed in civilian clothes. I can tell they were police, but I don't think it was normal police. I would say Gestapo. Those guys give me the creeps.
Yes. They are probably looking for her for the same reason as we are, and we were hoping to beat them to it, you know. Us regular guys, you know.
I guess, and he sort of realizes that he's sort of spoken badly about the Gestapo, and just sorry, I mean I didn't mean it like that. Of course, they are very important. For
very, very important for the Reich, of course. But you know, us regular guys, sometimes we want to, you know, beat them to it and show them that we can do stuff as well, you know. You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
He stretches out his hand and to shake yours. I'm Moritz, he says.
No, Felix. Which way did they go?
They drove off out of the neighborhood. There's only that one road there. I didn't see where they went.
Okay. Well, and this was a couple of hours ago, you said?
Yeah, around 2 or 3 in the morning, I think. I was up early, you know. There's a lot to do. I'm helping the family of Hauptsturmführer Wolf here. They need help with the day-to-day things. He's off on the front with the Waffen-SS.
I see. Well, nice talking to you.
Good day to you as well, and thank you for the cigarette.
You have a good day. And I'll go back into the house.
And Bauer comes back, and Farley, you're still marveling at all these signs everywhere. And Drummond, you are trying to find this radio equipment still, as Bauer comes in.
She was taken by the Gestapo, probably. Her and another man, actually. So there were 2 of them here, taken.
Did he say anything to you about how the man looked like?
No, he did not, but I didn't ask. I can go back and ask if you want me to.
He mentioned that it was quite dark and he couldn't really see. He could only even make out that it was probably Leonor. Leonor is his neighbor, so he should very much know how she looks like. So it seems like he didn't catch how this man looked like.
Okay. Well,
just that it was a man.
I think that Felix Bauer still feels ashamed about his lousy lie to the SS earlier, so he wants to try and prove himself not too incompetent. So if it's okay with you, I like to retcon that and just say that no, it was too dark, he couldn't see.
I see. And I can't seem to find the room where she might have kept her equipment.
Are you still looking at those signs, Folly?
I'm looking around the house just to see what I can see, what there is to find.
Well, do you have any other leads, or do we need to find her? Because then we need to find the crossroad over there to see if the farmer over there saw which way a car went in the middle of the night.
Do we have any other contacts?
We do have
You
some
do,
more
of
contacts
course.
in Berlin.
Yes. You have a list of 4 names. Leonor Eisenberg, of course, which you have just visited. She's an extraction specialist who's been able to bring people out of Berlin before. You have a man named Friedrich Kindermann, who's an ensign for the Luftwaffe at Flakturm 1 in Tiergarten, at the big flak tower there. Then there's Else Ingersleben, who is working at the radio at Grossdeutscher Rundfunk. And finally you have Stefan Goretti, who is a businessman who is importing coffee to Germany and has good connections with Italy. All these are MI6 contacts, and all these have been in contact with Lawton, you know that much. But Leonor is the one who has been in contact with him most recently.
Well, you call the shots.
If the Gestapo have got her, we won't be able to get through to her, will we? Maybe we should go and look up one of our other contacts.
Yes, I think that's a very good idea. We can't just stand around here all day.
If it was the Gestapo, we've only got some servant's name, a word for it.
But we don't know where she is, and even if we find her, we're not sure if we can get to her. So, yeah. Which one of the others?
One's as good as another. Should we just take first name on list?
Which one is
Yeah.
closest? Which one do we know where they are? Do I know if one is like far away and one is very close?
They're all in the city. A lot of them are around Tiergarten, around the big city park. So they're pretty much all in that general area. So you would have to drive into the city, but there's no one that's closer than another, really. So it's really what you think is the most interesting to begin with.
I think Stefan Goretti would be quite interesting, since he has a lot of coffee, and I do like a warm cup of coffee.
And you know that coffee is almost impossible to get a hold of in Berlin.
Exactly. That's my point. Why not go there?
Yeah. So I guess I'm driving the car towards Goretti's coffee house place-ish.
And Goretti Cafe has a small office on Müllerstrasse. As you enter the city of Berlin, you of course know that part of it has been destroyed already through the bombings. There was this massive raid on the 3rd of February where 1,000 bombers dropped their payload over the city. You can see traces of that everywhere. And there's also people everywhere. The population seems to be growing. You've, of course, noticed this, Bauer, that more and more people, especially refugees, have been coming into Berlin because it is the best protected city in all of Germany. It has the most modern defenses, and all of the Nazi leadership they're still in the city, and they're confident that it can be defended. So where else would you go, really? There's swastikas and posters of Hitler everywhere, lots of red, white, and black. There's not so many cars moving around, though, because gasoline is very hard to come by. And this is something that makes you a little bit special. As a Volkssturm officer, you actually are able to get a hold of gasoline. That's why you can run your car. But for most other people, they have to leave their cars standing, which means that most people are either walking, riding bicycles, or in a few of the very, very overcrowded buses that are running across the city. You also see long lines everywhere with people lining up to get their rationed food. There's also a lot of military activity. You see grizzled Wehrmacht veterans, people missing limbs, blue-eyed Waffen-SS volunteers directly from the Hitler Youth, Volkssturm conscripts just like you, and many of the soldiers, they look either very young or very old. The people who would be the main ones to fight this war, they are already fighting it, and many of them are dead. And these are desperate times, so everyone has to do their part now to defend the Reich. And yes, you arrive at Goretti Cafe that has a small office on Müllerstrasse. It seems very quiet, and this office, almost abandoned from looking at it from the outside.
Is he gone too?
Let's go and see. So, Farley gets out of the car and walks up. So this is you say there's an office and a cafe?
So the company's called Goretti Cafe, which is Goretti's
okay.
coffee, basically.
Yes. Okay. So it's just an office.
Yes, it's an office, and there seems to be a warehouse building connected to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Farley moves up towards the office then. What do the other two of you do?
Follow?
Yes, follow.
Well, the door is unlocked to the office itself, but there's no one to meet you there. You see a framed picture of Mussolini on the wall. There's some spider webs in here and dust. But otherwise, it's completely quiet.
So there we are. We're inside. Is there some sort of reception desk here abandoned?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And are there doors to the further reaches of the building?
Indeed, there is a door that says warehouse that seems to be going into the warehouse building. And here there's just there's a sofa, there's a meeting room table, there's a small kind of reception desk. You see some old catalogs for various kinds of coffee from Italy, but they look to be from 1941 or 1942.
So I step over towards the warehouse door.
You can hear the sound of sort of metal, as if someone is, the sound of someone working on a car, kind of like a clanking metal noise. Something like that is coming from the warehouse.
So there is no way to see through it. There's no glass in the door or any other. Is there a keyhole?
Yeah, and there is a keyhole, and the door. I mean, you can see it's partly open. That's why you can hear the sound. So you can definitely watch through there if you would like to look into the warehouse.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to open the door wide. I'm just going to look through the crack in the door.
Then you see a man on the other side there, a little bit further into the warehouse. The warehouse is completely empty. All the shelves are just, there's nothing on them. There must have been a bunch of sacks of coffee there at some point in the past, but you can still smell this lingering aroma of coffee in the air, but you don't see any bags of it anywhere. But you do see this man who is working on a motorcycle in here. He seems to be fixing it up. He doesn't seem to have noticed you yet.
So, the others, Bauer and Drummond, are you by the door as well, or are you elsewhere?
Trying to watch, like, not over your shoulder because I'm quite short, but trying to see through the door as well, from behind you.
Yeah. Do we know if it's Mr. Goretti?
You have seen pictures of all of these people that you have on your contact list, and that does not look like Mr. Goretti. No, he is. This man is quite thin. Mr. Goretti is a bit more. He's a bit larger, a little bit more sort of jovial looking, like he's a man who enjoys life, an Italian man who's enjoying life, Okay.
But it looks Italian.
He does look Italian, yes.
So do we talk to him or do we go to the next person? Everyone on the list is gone.
Yeah.
Farley shrugs his shoulders and makes a kind of gesture towards the door, and opens it and steps into the warehouse.
The man who is working on the motorcycle looks up and he nods to you. Sorry, there's no coffee here, if that's what you're looking for.
We're looking for Mr. Goretti. Is he around?
He stands up and comes walking over to you. I'm Dino. I'm in charge of the warehouse. You're looking for Stefan, yes?
Indeed.
Yeah, so no coffee has been imported here for a while, and there's not a lot of work for either one of us. And with the city, well, the war isn't exactly going our way, is it? I don't think that's exactly a secret. He's over at the embassy. He's trying to arrange for some way for us to leave this place. Not back to Italy necessarily, because I don't think that's any safer, but just some way out of here. So he's over there right now.
So we'll find him at the Italian embassy.
Yeah, exactly. He's over at the embassy.
Thank you very much.
He nods to you and goes back to fixing his motorcycle.
So I step back through the door into the office, part of the complex, and turn to the other two.
Embassy.
Embassy?
Yes, let's go to the embassy. Or what do you think? We should go there, shouldn't we? But do you want to choose another name from the list?
We've started down this road. Let's carry on and see what happens. The other two people, we've still got their names. If we don't get anywhere with this Goretti, then we'll try one of them.
Yeah. As soon as somebody leads us to Lohan, then I'm happy, so let's just go there and see if we find him.
No strange signs here. Yeah, Farley?
I look around. Do I see anything?
No, nothing. This is a normal, boring office. It smells a little bit like coffee, which is nice.
I look Bauer level in the eyes. No signs.
Good. Then we go, yeah? Okay?
Yeah, very good.
So you head for the Italian embassy then, I gather.
That's what we do.
Indeed. Well, you reach it rather quickly. It's on Tiergartenstrasse. It's right across the street from the big city park. All the trees in the city park have been cut down, of course, to become firewood. And some of it burned down in the bombings as well. The Italian embassy building is a very new one. It's sort of built in this neoclassicist style. It's supposed to look a little bit like from the Roman era, basically, with marble columns. And it was completed in 1942, you know, Bauer, and funnily enough, it was bombed by the RAF just a few months afterwards, and it remains partly destroyed after that. No one has bothered to rebuild it completely, but it is seeing active use still. This embassy represents the tiny state of Salo, which is what remains of fascist Italy. The rest is fallen, of course. Mussolini's still holding out there, but everyone knows that his days they're clearly numbered. You can hear music and what sounds like a raucous party coming from within the embassy, already from the street.
Somebody's throwing a party. We'll catch him in a good mood.
Maybe you'll get some of your precious coffee in here.
Maybe I'll get something even better.
And you walk up to the embassy entrance desk. Yeah, and then yes, you are not going to try to do anything sneaky. Just sort of visit it as visitors, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, then what meets you there is something that looks relatively, well, it's a bit funny. There's a guard who's wearing a toga, and he's got a Beretta Model 38 submachine gun. He's standing outside the door, as if he's come straight from the party to maybe relieve one of the other guards, still wearing the party attire. You can smell the alcohol already as you get close. He sort of lifts up his weapon a little bit, motioning as if, well, they're maybe not accepting guests right now.
I walk forward and speak to him in Italian, as Farley is he can speak Italian fluently.
You can indeed, and you see him sort of light up and smiles, and it's oh, another Italian. Welcome. I'm afraid the embassy isn't quite what it used to be, but are you here for a passport or something? Or
We're looking for Mr. Goretti, Stefan Goretti. We were told he would be here.
Oh, maybe he's at the party then. Do you have an invitation?
You listen to Sweden Rolls playing KULT Divinity Lost with special guest star GM Mattiaz Fredriksson of Red Moon Roleplaying. KULT was originally created by Gunilla Jonsson and Petersén, and KULT Divinity Lost is published by Helmgast. If you like our podcast, please rate and review us on iTunes or Google Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to get the opportunity to win some awesome giveaways. If you want to support our podcast and help us create more and more content, please go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/SwedenRolls. The music for this one-shot was created by myself, Andreas Lundström. Until our next episode, goodbye and farewell.